how can we feel God? How can we touch God? How can we experience God? One of the answers we often will come to is that we can't. We think, oh, we can't experience God. We can't touch God physically because we say, oh, this is like, here's a stone. This is real. I can touch this. I can feel it. And I can hand it to you and you can feel it. And that's real, we say. Um, but God is not something that we can do that with. So you might say, and this is why people don't think the reality of God is real, because they would say, well, this is a stone, this is real, you can hand me this, that's real, okay. But where's God? You can't hand me God, you can't point to God, so God isn't real, which I think is a like quite a logical thing to say. It makes sense. I get it, I understand it. Um, and I think it's a good thing. I think it's a really good instinct to say, why should I believe something because someone else says it, because it's part of some theory, some belief system. Why should I believe something unless I experience it, unless I know it? That's a good instinct. The thing is, like, we can know God, we can experience God. It is possible. It is the reality of the spiritual, mystical path for individuals to touch God, to experience the reality of God. It's not the same thing as picking up a stone, but it is as real as many other realities or ways of experiencing something that we know in lots of ways. Um, we can experience God. We can touch God. The trouble is when we think about these things, we often make the mistake. I think it's a mistake, and it's a mistake taught by spiritual traditions and communities, that the physical is the opposite of the spiritual. Like, here's the physical thing, here's something real and concrete, and the spiritual is something floaty somewhere else. And the way to get to the good, floaty, spiritual stuff is to turn away from the physical, concrete, sensual stuff. That's what some people and some traditions teach, but that's a mistake. It's not that we get to the spiritual by ignoring the physical or saying the physical is bad. It's the opposite of that. We actually get to the spiritual by entering more and more deeply into the physical, into the sensual, into the bodily, into the real. The body is a more reliable entryway into knowing God than the mind. We live in our minds so much, and actually to discover God we often have to get into the body, because the body is great. Like, the sensuality is a good thing. Physicality, the physical thing of having a body, is good. It's a good thing. Touch is a good thing. We know babies, when they're born, they need that skin to skin kind of contact to develop as fully rounded, healthy human beings. Babies need to be touched, need to be held. And there's a reality of that is always true for human beings, that we need connection. We need connection. We need physical connection with each other. And that during the pandemic was something that we were starved of in many ways. Just the simple act of, shaking someone's hand, saying hello and shaking someone's hand and having a hand-to-hand contact, or having a hug. These are human connected things that are good for us. Sensuality, sexuality, physicality, having a body is a good thing, and these things are good for us. And this is not the opposite of the spiritual. The physical can be the entry into the spiritual. How? A few very simple things, like holding a stone like this, can be a great a great prayer practice. Um, I picked up this stone on the beach the other day, and I kind of held it in my hand and was playing with it in my hand as I walked along the beach and was in a reflective thinking and praying myself. In some ways, it's just something to keep your hands busy, like a fidget spinner, that kind of thing. Just to have that in your hand in your pocket is quite a centering thing. But just also to feel the sensation, the sensation, the reality, the smoothness of a stone, to hold on to that can be a real anchoring thing for prayer. And also just practices of meditation that are about feeling, about being in the body as a way of escaping the mind. Because if you think about it, every second of your life, your skin is feeling huge amounts of stuff. Like your skin is feeling your clothes on your body. Your skin is feeling the seat you're sitting on your legs. You're feeling all this stuff all the time. You're feeling it all. But generally, your mind is going, ignore that stuff. It doesn't matter. And think about things. Think about things. Think about things. There's important things to think about. So stop paying attention to all this data, all this information, all this sensation that's coming from your body. And maybe sometimes that's okay. But maybe sometimes it's like, okay, maybe thinking isn't the most important thing. Maybe I'm just going to put thinking to one side and I'm going to sit for 10 minutes of meditation and feel what my body is feeling. Just be aware of what it is to have a body, what I'm feeling, if my back is aching, if how the clothes are feeling on my skin, if the air is cool or warm, going where my skin is touching the air. To spend 10 minutes doing that, to sit quietly and to feel is one of the most reliable meditation practices that you can do. And these things are a doorway into feeling God, into experiencing God, because we can have a sense in getting in touch with the physical that we are held, that we are hugged by God, that we're held by this loving reality, by this loving God who loves us. Um, the beloved is there. And for me, prayer and a sense of encounter with God is really physical for me. Like I feel it. I feel like a tingling down my spine. And that's my sense of God's reality. Like I can sit and I can have a sense of God and then I feel it. I feel it. I can feel it. Like I feel it now a little bit. God's presence. Like a real physical thing. Um, and we're all capable of being open to that sense of being held in our bodies by the beloved. The mystics and the deep traditions of spiritual traditions will always say there is more than this. There is a darkness and a mystery that is beyond, and sometimes there's kind of dry periods where when we're seeking a feeling and we're not feeling it. Um, and there's a whole lots of spiritual wisdom written about that as well. Um, but we can return to just feeling. We are feeling, we are physically real, and we can feel what our bodies are feeling. We can live more deeply into our bodies. It is the birthright, I think, of every person to be able to experience God. We can feel God. And so many churches and religions don't spend time telling us these things. I don't know why. I don't know why they get distracted with lots of other things, so many other nonsense stuff, forgetting the central purpose of a religion, of spiritual tradition, is to point us to how to encounter God. And we can encounter God, each and every one of us. We can encounter God. There is a mystery beyond it. It's not like it's still, there's a wildness and a mystery that we can't get to. But we absolutely can touch God.